Hey guys, it's Fred and Sheila McCoy, Hatfield McCoy Museum and Adventures. We're not at the museum today. We're doing a story on American Vendetta and TC Crawford. And I think this is part...
Four.
I think it's part 4. And we're just going to pick up where we left off. TC Crawford says the aunts told him that Ellison was attacked on Monday and died 2 days later on Wednesday, which we think is correct. TC refers to Ance Hatfield as the chief of the West Virginia Outlaws, among other unflattering names. Okay. You know, Devil Ance never pulled the wool over TC Crawford's eyes. He thought he did, but when TC was back in civilization, he told the truth. He told what he had observed and learned from his talks with Devil Ance Hatfield and the Hatfield family from West Virginia.
You could say the pen was mightier than the sword.
Well, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, no,
I mean, because
the pen's also mightier than the Winchester or the Colt. And because that's what they got so upset over that story that TC Crawford done.
Right.
And I think that's when some of his children and grandchildren and different ones decided, hey, that's the only book that's out there, so let's start writing a book. And of course it went different directions from there, everybody's books.
Yeah.
TC says Cap Hatfield had the reputation of being a coward. This is what TC Crawford wrote in his book. He knew Cap and Ance Hatfield. I didn't. However, I would agree with TC just from the stories and research that Sheila and I have done. Now, he said that Cap Hatfield, and I'll tell you, when you read the entire story, the entire book, and this is one of the better books I like. You know, TC, you can see in his book where he tends to write things that Devil Ance, you can tell that Devil Ance is telling him things and he's writing it. You can tell it's coming from Devil Ance. You can tell it's a one-sided story.
Right.
It's Devil Ance's side because he never got a other side to compare it to. So he still had to throw some of that stuff in there to have enough to make a book, even though the book is thin. He still had to put certain things in there. That don't make it true just because Devil Ance said it, but that's what he done. He quoted Devil Ance some. And here's one time he quoted him. TC says that Ance Hatfield told him that Perry Klein wrote him a letter wanting $500 to have the Kentucky warrants dropped on him. Now, he told TC Crawford, or that's in TC Crawford's book, that Devil Ance told him that Perry Klein had wrote him a letter and said send him $500 and he'll get Simon Buckner to drop the murder warrants on him. And I put in here, just like the 3 bullets lied into history, reference to Hubert Bay McCoy, the letter just so happens to get lost. What a great piece of evidence to have used against Perry Klein for blackmail, coercion, bribery. Looks like Cap, with his imaginary law degree, would have used that letter against Perry Klein. Remember, these stories are of Devil Ance's that he's telling TC Crawford. Like all authors, sometimes they need material to fill the pages. And I think that's what TC Crawford was doing there. Imagine, now it's in TC Crawford's book. He says that Devil Ance said that Perry Klein wrote him a letter and said, send me $500 and I will get these charges dropped on you. Perry Klein's brother-in-law, Asa Harmon, was killed. He went to helping his sister raise their children. While he's raising their children, one of his nephews, Jeff McCoy, in 1884, I believe, or 85, he's killed swimming across Tug River away from Cap and Tom Wallace. But yet you're wanting somebody to believe that Perry Klein was going to get murder charges dropped on you after you had killed 3 more of his nephews, tied them up to trees, and killed them. See, we don't buy that. And you know, what a piece of evidence. You know, that's physical evidence. That's physical. That's tangible. That's something you can hold in your hand and say, that's a pair of glasses and a bunch of papers. That's documents. Rather than just saying, yeah, I had a pair of glasses and I had some documents. Where they at? I don't know. I've lost them.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know if I'm telling you a lie, if I ever had them or not.
Yeah.
But imagine a letter as important as that. Now, they kept the letter that Devil Anse and Cap had wrote the newspaper and said, it's over with. We have no more feud in us. We just want to go on with our lives. Of course they did. Of course they wanted to go on with their lives, but we get to that point in a minute. TC said Devil Anse told him that Cap and Tom Wallace were taking Jeff McCoy to Logan County Jail when Jeff McCoy cut his ropes and escaped. He cut the ropes. I guess he had a knife on him. And continues that Tom Wallace shot Jeff McCoy on the riverbank, not Cap. Now, Devil Anse, once again, he's good at that. You have to give him credit for that because he does take up for his family. He doesn't go with them when he sends them out to do these things. He doesn't save them when they're going to the gallows. He doesn't pick their dead bodies up at the prison or send somebody to bring them home and give them a decent burial. But when he can cover talking to the newspaper or somebody, he does do that.
Okay.
TC says Anse Hatfield told him that Frank Phillips had come to West Virginia and arrested Tom Chambers and took him back to Kentucky. I agree. TC said that when Hatfield gang raided Randall McCoy's home on New Year's Eve or day, they received as good as they got. Where did this statement come from? Remember, he also interviewed Cap Hatfield. Where did TC get that statement to put in his book? Because we've heard that statement elsewhere.
Yeah.
We've heard it in other places where they received as good as they got. But the only people TC talked to, because the neighbors wouldn't go against Devil Anse, so the only people they talked to was the Hatfields. And of course, Cap was like his dad. He was a bragger. Devil Anse was older, and he said a man wouldn't be wise if he did do something. He wouldn't be wise to talk about it. So he may have been tight-lipped. But where did TC get that comment from? And you know, Cap Hatfield made an impression on TC Crawford. TC Crawford did not like Cap Hatfield. TC Crawford says that those in attendance at the cabin massacre were Johns Hatfield, Cap Hatfield, Robert Bob Hatfield, Elliot Hatfield, French Ellis, Charlie Gillespie, and Ellison Hatfield Mounts. If that's true, then not only were Devil Anse and Cap never held accountable for their crimes against the McCoys, but Robert Bob Hatfield and Elliot Hatfield also went free. If that's the people that was actually at the cabin massacre, and that's in TC Crawford's book, and that either come from Cap, Good Elias, or Devil Anse, then you had two other people that was never held. You know, I heard a guy say one time that Bob Hatfield, Robert Hatfield was his great-great-great-great-grandfather, and that he was a spy. He just went around. He didn't do a whole lot during the feud because he was a spy, and he went around seeing what the other side was doing. Like nobody would know Devil Anse's family or who his children was. You know, we've got a picture of Robert Lee Hatfield down there at the museum, and right now, if we was at the museum, we could walk over to that one pink counter at the bottom of it, and there's a picture of Robert Lee Hatfield. So you could see what he actually looked like. So it makes it, again, on these photos that we've got, they surely come in handy to Sheila and I think they're a good visual instrument for you guys to see.
Well, sure.
This was part 4. I should be able to finish up with part 5, guys. So if you're interested in hearing the rest of the story, we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks. Please like and subscribe. Bye.